friends, and welcome back to Beloved Reviews. If you're new here on this channel, I share with you delightful, family-friendly, and faith-based movies and television shows. Y'all, happy Saturday. Welcome back. Get somewhere cozy, comfortable. Kick off those shoes. You know, lay up. It may be a minute. Well, not really, of course. I don't know, to be honest, okay? I had to sit on this one for a minute, so I don't even really know what direction we gonna be going in our setting today. But first off, y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, what are you up to, what are you streaming, what are you watching, what are you excited about? How is your weekend going so far? Is it flying by? Because to me it's definitely already flying by. I mean, goodness, can I get some more time? Can I get some more time? You know, that's how I be feeling sometimes, but y'all know, whatever. But yeah, y'all catch me up on anything that I have missed or anything that you know you want to talk about. All of that, drop it in the comment section below, because y'all know I love hearing from y'all. But yes, as for me, I am in an amazing mood, hopeful. Like I said, I could use a little bit more time to relax. I got some reading done this weekend so far, watched a few things. So I want to stay in my cozy zone. I literally want to get up on a blanket and just stay there for hours. But I know I live in a real world, got things to do, places to go, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just thankful for the moments that I do get a peace, you know, all of that. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started with our special feature today, which is titled You, Me, and Tuscany. Okay, this film is premiering, or I'm about to say streaming, goodness, premiering right now in your local theaters. Just hit theaters officially for all of us on the 10th yesterday. So y'all still have time to get out there, fill up them seats and all of that. But first, we got a few things to discuss, so you can know if this is the film for you, if this is something that's gonna be worth your time and your money. So, but first, let me tell y'all what this film is about. Anna impulsively jets off to Tuscany, Italy, to stay at a stranger's villa without permission. Caught inside the house by the man's mother, she convinces the woman that she's his fiancée. That little lie soon becomes a big problem when Anna develops a growing attraction to the stranger's handsome cousin. Now, friends, I was excited about this film. I'm going to be honest. I was excited way before I actually took the chance of watching a few people reviews, trusted reviewers that I enjoy particularly. But I was excited before I even watched some of their reviews, because we have our first rom-com of the year that our leading actors are of color, and we rarely get to see that in theaters. I mean, we do probably see it on some streaming platforms here and there, but in theaters, yeah, we don't really get that. Not to mention just getting rom-coms, period. Most of the theaters seem now focus on horrors, action, Marvel, all of that. And not to say there's anything wrong with that. There's an audience for everything. But for those of us who are hopeful romantics, who enjoy a little bit of romance story, whether it's a, you know, forbidden love forever, you know, everlasting love, or you know, something lighthearted like a rom-com. So I was excited, very excited about this film. And I did happen to get out there yesterday at a good hour, and I had a wonderful theater experience. It just reminded me how pleasant the theater experience is. Yes, there's nothing wrong with streaming, but we want to keep our theaters open. Many of us grew up always having that local theater around, being able to go to the movies and all of that. And we're going to a day and age where we don't really see as many people in the theaters like we used to. So I want to encourage you all to get out there if you can, you know, just to get out there and support. These are workers here and all of that. We all connected somehow. But anyways, y'all, let me tell y'all, right? We're gonna start with, I just feel like I'm all over the place in my mind and my thoughts right now, because I feel like I have a lot to say, but I'm like, where do I begin? Where do I go? I don't want to feel like I'm on my soapbox, but I gotta be real here. I kind of am. And if you have been around, been a part of this family, a part of this community for a minute, you know the only films I feature, I'm probably the only review channel that feature films. That every film that or TV show that you hear me talk about on this channel is always something that I enjoy. You never really hear me talk about films that I was disappointed with and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna pass on this one, you should pass on that one, because I did not want a channel like that. I didn't want a channel that I would bash any type of art here, because any kind of art, I know that it took a lot of hard work goes into it, whether it's for me or if it isn't for me. And there's enough people out there who are going to do that kind of work, who are going to bash things and go all in on something and all of that. It's enough of that going on. So I didn't want this space here to be that. However, at the same time, because we are a faith-based channel here, and we are people of faith, and we are called to be honest. So there are a few things that I want to point out in this film that I would have liked to see differently. I would say that, because overall I felt like the message of this film was worth it. It was powerful. Many of us could use that encouragement, that hope here. So that's the only reason it pretty much made it to the channel. And yes, not to mention I did enjoy the film. I really did. For the most part, I was there. I was all in. I felt the characters. The plot here was worth talking about, was worth like investing in, but there were a few things that I felt like could have been better, that could have been reach a broader audience. And when we have a rom-com like this, I feel like it should be important that you want to reach as many people as possible. You want many, especially when you have a powerful message in a film like this, you don't want that to be overshadowed by a few things that would turn people off, that would make someone kind of be like, you know what, I wasn't expecting this. This is a rom-com. I was expecting something fun that I can bring a younger person with me there. I can bring my grandmother there. We could all have a good time and no one would feel offended or feel like certain things were offensive and all of that. You don't expect that from a rom-com. If anything, it's supposed to be lighthearted. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be laughing. You're supposed to feel a certain connection to the characters, that you're rooting for them. And overall, like I said, it's supposed to be an amazing experience. However, that can be tragically overshadowed by a few things that I am going to point out as we get further and further into this review. I'm about to say interview, like I'm interviewing somebody. Girl, child, look at me. But anyways, first we are introduced to Anna. Like, the synopsis does go deep, so we pretty much know what the story is about. So I'm not surprised there. I did go into this. I know many of you who are not part of the channel who may come across this video, because it has happened in the past when I have done reviews like this. I haven't done one in a minute like this, where you're pointing out things that you feel like could be better. I don't know, sometimes people feel like, who are not a part of the channel, not a part of the community, and just passing by and would certainly say, because they have said it before in the past, well, beloved, what did you expect? This is not a faith-based film. I get that. You know, I know what I was walking into. I know this wasn't a faith-based film, but at the same time, there are still certain standards I would like to see in a rom-com. This is not a rated R film. This is not a mature audience film. This is not that type of thing. Okay, it's not a Marvel. It's not any of those things that I wouldn't even bother with in that sense. Okay. But this, like I said, it's a rom-com. It's lighthearted, and you usually would think rom-coms would be appropriate for all ages and family oriented and all of that, even though we do get a lot of family oriented things involved in this film. But at the same time, I'm not gonna go easy on this, because I feel like we live in a time where if nothing is said, then nothing will ever be said. Unfortunately, it's like everybody tends to jump on a bandwagon when somebody says something first, instead of you being moved by your own convictions and saying whatever you feel God put on your heart, on your particular channel, platform, whatever, blog, whatever the case is, or just speaking in real life from person to person. And a lot of times, and that's how I'm doing here. So bear with me. For those of you who probably feel like, beloved girl, why we doing all this? This ain't a faith-based film. You should have known. It may be some inappropriate words said by different characters or whatever. And that, yes, I get that. But at the same time, like I said, if nothing is said, nothing will ever be said, which means nothing will ever be done or changed. And I want to see rom-coms with led by people of color that paint us in appropriate ways. I watch so many other rom-coms, television shows, romance movies on Hallmark and all. Shoot, we got Hallmark We got Hallmark, a whole network that has so many different films that are led by a particular type of people, right? And I love these films, okay? Y'all see me talking about them all the time. And how is it they can have all these types of stories with no profanity? They can have all these types of stories with women dressed appropriately and still looking really lovely at the same time, and the men who are gentlemen, who don't have to take off their shirt, who don't have to use their body or use certain gestures to get the point across that, hey, I'm attracted to you, hey, I'm feeling you, or whatever the case may be. And we still, as the audience, we get it. If anything, it engages us more, it pulls us even more into the story because it makes it that much more mysterious. We don't have to see certain things on the screen for us to understand. I mean, and it's like, give your audience some credit here, right? Okay, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but let me go ahead and start with the things that I did enjoy about the film. The character Anna, to me, was I loved her. I have to be honest, I really loved the character Anna because I felt like many of us could relate to her. She is in a time and a place and season in her life where everything seems to be going wrong. She's in a place trying to figure it out, and we have all been there. Many of us are still there. I mean, it is a journey here, living life. As much as we would like an overnight success story or overnight change, it doesn't necessarily go there. We do have curveballs that are thrown our way that comes out of nowhere. And for many of us, it knocks us off our feet. Some of us completely, and some of us to the point where we are wounded. And here we do meet that character, Anna, who had something happen in her life, a certain loss that knocked her off her course. She was on a path where success was like at the end of that road. She was on a path to becoming a chef, doing the work, going to school, had plans once she graduated, once she actually met the goal along with a certain family member. But when she got to the end, well, before she even got to the end, when she was getting close, that particular family member was no longer there. And many of us have been there. We have started off our journeys with particular people alongside of us, rooting for us, encouraging us, and celebrating us at the same time. But before we can even reach the goal, things happen. Something happened out of nowhere. Maybe that particular person isn't there for whatever reason, and that affected us. It wounded us to the point where it felt like you don't want to go on anymore. You don't know what you're supposed to do. You're like, why, God, did I end up here? What are we doing? I thought this was where I was supposed to be. I thought this was the way you wanted me to go, but why does it hurt so bad? What am I supposed to do? Many of us have experienced that. Like, God, where do we go from here? And that is the character Anna. We start out there. One of the things I did appreciate about this character, that even though I'm saying all of these things and you'll be like, wow, that sounds very deep for a rom-com, that's pretty tough. But the thing about Anna is, and the thing about this film, it doesn't stay there. It makes it very clear where this character's state of mind is, who she is, why she's doing what she's doing, why she's there. So we already feel for her. We already care about her. They made that very clear at the beginning of this film, and I appreciate that because there's so many different films out there that misses me somehow with that. With any type of film that I'm going to enjoy, I need to first care about the characters. I need to care about the story. I need to care about their journey to feel a part of it, to even want to go on it with you, okay? And so they do an amazing job for me with this character Anna. Right off the bat, we get that out of the way at the beginning of the film. So when you meet someone like Anna, you don't feel like she's been through what she's been through. She doesn't look like what she's been through. She doesn't look like what she's going through. And I appreciate that because I would think that's how you would want to be. Even if you are going through something, you don't want the world to see that you're that bad off, that you're not that well off. Because what do they care anyway? I mean, most people do not care regardless. And also, you want to fight to get yourself out of that pit. You don't want to be stuck there by people's pity and they so-called sympathy. And they're just giving you room to just sit there instead of saying, get up, get out of there, girl. there's still life to live. And Anna did have a friend who I appreciated in this film. Who was that for her? She didn't let Anna off the hook. She made sure to say, Anna, this ain't right. What are you doing? Like, rethink what you're about to do. So she had that, that little angel in a sense in her ear. But she also, like I said, this is a person who is wounded, who hasn't went through that healing journey yet, who hasn't even begun to heal. So she's making all kind of wacky decisions, crazy decisions that sends her on this crazy path. But like I said, the imagery in this film we're going to talk about. This is Tuscany, Italy. Beautiful scenery. I mean, it definitely pulls you in the film. It makes you feel like you done been somewhere, you're going somewhere, or you want to take this trip in real life. I heard plenty of people say this about this film. So yes, that was such a deep appreciation for that, especially someone like me who has never been to a place like this. The food here, y'all know I love films that kind of the camera narrow ends on the food. So we do get all of those fresh veggies, all these wonderful dishes, and the bread looks so heavenly. All these types of imageries, they do not shy away from. We go deep in detail with it by allowing that camera to do what it does best, magnify the beauty of life here. So we get all of that in this film, and I so appreciate it. I loved it. Okay, so moving on from there. As the story progresses, of course, we're staying away from spoilers because this film is still playing in your local theater. I do not want to ruin anything for you, so I'm kind of keeping things very broad and, not really going in on certain things. But introducing our character, Michael, who plays, I guess, a bit of the love interest here. We do have an interesting love dynamic in this film, which I'm not going to go into detail about, but you're going to know what I'm talking. You're gonna know what I'm talking about when you watch the film. But yeah, so Michael is a little bit, you can tell, totally different, totally living a different life than Anna. He seems to know what he wants. He has that confidence. He's a really good guy. Let me just say that, a decent, good guy who has an appreciation for life, appreciation for family, and he's just living, enjoying every moment that he's been given. And I love that it's perfectly kind of balanced out. Anna here, especially, like I said, coming from her background, so that was pretty cool. I'm not going to go into details about that, their interesting dynamic, their interactions, but I will say that their story is believable. They seem like real life people. Forgive me, y'all. This doesn't seem like something that is made up, or you know how it is with certain stories, just kind of putting people together, no chemistry, none of that types of things. Here I felt their chemistry. I felt like it was real. I felt like this is a real life couple that I'm watching kind of get through things, even though they're not necessarily a couple, but you know what I'm saying, y'all know. So I felt like all of that was there, which made the film, well, it kept me engaged. It kept me rooting for them and wanting more for them together, but even apart, I was just rooting for them on their own unique journey. I also really enjoyed Anna's driver in this film. He was funny. He just seemed like, almost like, even though he was a part of the film, he seemed almost like the audience as well, because he had first row seats to Anna's story and her this interesting dynamic playing out, and he was rooting for her. Like, we as the audience was rooting for her, he was as well. And the advice that he offered Anna, I felt like it was so genuine. He seemed like he really cared about her and was looking out for her. And I know that I would say that would seem unrealistic. Like, think about real life. You go into a country you know nothing about for the very first time, and your driver happened to be someone that you can have a conversation with, where it seemed like he's almost like your family, offering you genuine advice and was there for you at any time you pick up the phone and called, he was there, and it just seemed like he genuinely cared about you. Let me not say that. That can be realistic, okay? Even though it's a lot of not so good things out there in the real world, there can be good people out there as well. And Anna, you can tell her steps were guided by God, because you would think a person like this making the moves that she was making, that you would end up somewhere, I don't know, maybe kidnapped, trafficked, something crazy, no longer here to tell your story, the kind of decisions that she was making. But you can tell that it had to be the grace of God, his mercy, guiding your every step, putting certain people in your path to keep you, because that is the only way you could survive and live to tell your tale, making the kind of decisions that Anna made. But one of the things that really I thought about as I was watching the film, I was like, I wish I can be as courageous as Anna. Yeah, a lot of things she was doing, a person may say that wasn't wise, that was silly, like that's crazy for a grown woman to make certain types of decisions. But at the end of the day, this woman lived a courageous life. She took bold moves, and I was like, wow. Because I remember a time in my life where I felt like I was more courageous. I felt like I was willing to, I didn't have to know the whole journey before stepping out and making one move. I felt like I was more of a person that would just jump and go and trust that it's gonna be okay. And I missed that part of myself. And as I was watching Anna, I was like, I want that bag. How do I get that bag? Without the being naive, without the silliness, without making stupid choices, and trusting in people, because God calls us to trust in him. Yes, you should trust, certain people in your life, but you shouldn't trust in them. And Anna seemed like a person that trusted in people. And I remember a time in my life that I was like that more, when I trusted in certain individuals, and I remember how that led to disaster. So I don't want to be that, but at the same time, I want that part of me that was courageous, that was hopeful. I thought more positive things first than I did the negative. I thought more of this would turn out in this light more than I thought it would turn out in this shade of darkness. You know what I mean? And so I felt like I just wanted to work more on myself. That's what I took away from Anna's character. I want to be that person that bounces back. Yes, we all go through certain things, but bounce back with a trust and a willingness to go forward with your dreams, and not needing validation, not needing someone to be your cheerleader, to say, yeah, go ahead, take that step, girl, do your thing. Because everybody ain't gonna be that for you. Most people aren't gonna be that for you, but you have to believe that much in yourself, and believe that much in a dream that God has given you to press forward, regardless of certain things that come up that you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And Anna had so many moments like that in her past, and she took a bold step because a certain situation she got in that kind of woke her up. Now, I went for her, how she got there. I went for that. We don't need to be doing all that lying. We don't need to be making certain decisions that you got no business making, okay? We ain't finna go into detail about that. I ain't finna tell all your business like that, girl. But there were certain things, certain choices that you made, and God just had his hand on you. He really did. I mean, to get to the end of your journey and to have somebody like Michael standing there waiting there for you like that, like, girl, if all of our things can turn out like that, even though we had some messy beginnings, if all of our things can turn out like that, we can have someone like a Michael, this character, at the end of all of that. I think it would give us that encouragement to keep on pressing forward, to do what we got to do, to keep going, to still believe in the dream, and to keep fighting the good fight of faith. We can see that. But the interesting thing about life is, and from Anna's perspective, I know we saw worst of you. We saw what she didn't see, when she saw that everything looked like it was all over for her, and she lost out on probably the best thing in her life, one of the only things that she probably really wanted in her life, was a family, to belong, to be a part of something. And that's really what we all desire. Most people we want to be a part of something special. We want someone at the end of the day there for us, and truly, genuinely there with us. We all desire that, just being humans and doing life. And that was Anna, what she truly did want, even though she went about it in a very wacky, crazy way, even though she kind of wasn't trying to necessarily go for it because I felt like she didn't really think it was possible to begin with. And a lot of us have been there and are there now. We feel like certain things, like, how can Anna's story be for me? That happens for someone like this, or someone who looks like that, or someone from this background. But could it really happen for me? Could God really have this for me? And that's one of the things that I kind of wrestled with in this film. As I was watching things playing out and seeing everything come to a wonderful, brilliant, satisfying conclusion, I was like, could it be? Could this really be for me? Could I have this? Could I really belong and be truly, genuinely accepted and loved the way this character eventually was? And I'm still in a certain place. We ain't finna get into all that again. I ain't getting into the business, and I ain't finna get y'all in my business like that, okay? I'm just saying, okay? But like, so overall, I had an amazing time with this film. It was such a breath of fresh air away from life, all the disturbing different things that we hear about on a regular basis. So this was an escape. I felt like I really did travel to Tuscany, and I had an amazing time. Only thing is, I wish I could stay there. I didn't want to come back here, but you know, that's how vacations are. You gotta come back home. You gotta come back home, right? But let's get into the only issues that I had with this film. The issues that I had with this film is, this is for anybody. Anybody can get it. Any film can get it, right? It is not this film in particular, like this film, you did a bad thing. No, it's not like that. But it's anything, and I'm probably going to get more and more into that as, you know, as we go into the future, and I'm watching different things and pointing certain things out. But for the type of audience for this channel, I do want to point out there are certain profane language that is used in this film, particularly from Anna's best friend, who just seems like that was a part of her vocabulary, her personality. She just had that kind of flair to her. So it's not like you're getting F-bombs and all of this dropped throughout the film, which is such a turn off to me. It's not like that, but you do have it here and there. Anna even says certain things here and there, but you can tell that's not really a part of Anna's personality, but it is part of her best friend personality. So be prepared for that. You are going to have certain gestures, suggestive gestures here in this film that I felt like it could have done without. If anything, it would have made this film appeal to a broader audience if they would have left all of this stuff out that I'm talking about. And if anyone that took away from the film, if anything, would have made it that much more appealing, that much more attractive. And like I said, you have more people on board from different backgrounds, because they're, you know, it would have been like a PG or something like that. So that PG-13 does take it up a little bit of a notch, and it does turn certain audience away from that. And of course, you're still going to have your audience, that's your audience. But if you can deal with hearing certain particular language and dealing with certain suggestive gestures, then I feel like you will enjoy this film. You won't be taken out of the film because you're like turned off, like, oh, you know, you can still hang in there and get the overall message and be encouraged and hopeful and inspired with it. But if that is a big thing to you and you're like, beloved, you know what, I think I'm going to stay with something safe, more of a Hallmarkish or a faith-based type of thing, I understand. I get it. I totally get you, girl. But like I said, overall, it was a fun film. It would have been even more appealing to me if we could have dealt away with certain words and certain suggestive gestures. Okay, I feel like it's more of a mystery. It's more of like, oh, I'm swooning. Oh, I'm swooning. Okay, it could be more like that without having certain suggestive gestures in there. We didn't need to see certain things, okay? We really didn't. Leave that to let it be a mystery, and we ain't gotta go there. And I can still get where you're coming from. I can still get like, wow, oh yeah, I'm feeling you. I can still get all of that. So that's the only few things that I had that I was like, oh, I could have dealt without with this film. But overall, I had a good time. I am thankful that I went and watched it because I took away a powerful message, and it gave me a lot of hope. It rekindled my hope. It made me like broaden my horizons, because I'm like, wow, I would love to travel here. I would love to go here. I would love to try different foods, like real food, you know, and all of that. So I am overall, I am excited. I feel like I went on a trip for a quick bit. once again, this film is titled You, Me, and Tuscany, streaming right now in your local theater. And we're gonna go ahead and get into our scripture before I leave y'all for the day. And we're coming out of, let's see. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 22. And it reads, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. So that's all I have for y'all for this video. Before I head on out here, I do want to apologize and ask for your forgiveness, because I know I have a particular audience here on this channel. And if this film is offensive, you find it offensive to you, whether you watch the trailer or just hearing certain things about it, if it's not like your type of thing and you do find it offensive, my apologies there. And yes, I do ask for your forgiveness, but I do want to thank you all for hanging in there, being a part of the family, being a part of this lovely community. And then please remember to leave all your thoughts, your prayers, your overall take in the comment section below, because I do read them and I do enjoy hearing from you. And until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you both now and forevermore.